Today I'm going to show you how to use an SOS cord with the addi needles. First off, as some of you may have noticed, on some, not all of our cords, we have these little slits towards the end of our cords. There's one, you may not be able to see it on this one, but there's another one at this other end as well. These are used so that we can thread a safety line through our projects as we are still knitting. As you can see, I've slid a little bulb stitch marker through it here so that hopefully you can take a look. These cords are still pretty tight, but once they loosen up, you should be able to pinch the two ends together just on either side of that slit and have it open up for you. The idea is you're going to thread a spare piece of yarn through that slit, like so. And then you can continue knitting your project. So I'm going to show you a couple tips along the way. So first off, now that I have my yarn through that SOS slit, I'm going to just continue knitting like I would normally. The first thing that we're going to look at here is a stitch marker that is able to be removed. So in this case, we have a bulb stitch marker. So it obviously has a clasp, or you may have a C-shaped one. There's other options for removable stitch markers. Now that I've reached my stitch marker, I'm just going to slip it like I would normally. And we'll come back to this one here in just a little bit. The next stitch marker that I'm going to come across is a closed stitch marker. It's a full circle. It does not have an opening in it. So what is going to happen when if I were to just slide my stitch marker to over to my other needle with that SOS line, is that this stitch marker is going to get caught on our safety string. And I'm going to show you what that looks like here in just a second. Because I have such a short sample here, my cord did not go all the way through. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to pull my stitches along until I have the end of my yarn here. I have now knit another row and threaded a safety line through. So what I'm going to do next is I am just going to take that safety line out of my SOS cord, I'm going to turn my work, and I'm going to do my next row. In this case, I will have to bring my stitches back to the tip that I need to work at. But if your work was larger than what this was, you may not have to slide them quite as far as what I did. I'm going to start working my next row. Now that we've reached this closed stitch marker, you can see it is hooked onto our safety line. We are not going to be able to get that stitch marker out off of that safety line until we pull that safety line back out. So when you are adding a safety line, it is best to use a removable stitch marker like so. Because now in order to mark this section, I will have to put in a new stitch marker, either a closed one, since I'm not putting in another safety line, or a removable stitch marker. So next, I have reached the removable stitch marker that I had put on first. As you can see, it is also caught on my safety line. However, I can unhook it and slide it off of my safety line and slip it back onto my needle and continue. So when you are putting in a safety line, it is really best to make sure that you have either remove your stitch markers, if that's a possibility, or use a removable stitch marker so that if it gets caught, you are able to remove it in the next round or row. And as you can see, I now have my safety line in the row below and can continue knitting either until it's completed or until I feel like I can pull it out.